a year ago to the end of my freshman year when I took my proficiency speech. I was quite nervous. I walked into class and I was shaking and I was trembling and it was terrible, and I got up to give my speech and I went, I just sped through it. I did not pass. I failed it. And it was pretty embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm here in front of you today because I have something I really want to tell you, not because I like public speaking. And that's that I've noticed an imbalance in today's society. It's an imbalance between the positive and negative with which we see our world. If I say good, you might think bad. If I say sad, you might think happy. That's kind of a balance, and we've known that balance. It's in the back of our heads. We don't always think about it, but it's there. So, because of this balance, we've just accepted it as what it is. But what we haven't thought about is it really a balance? If you look at today's society, let's say we turn on the news, there's floods, there's disasters, there's terrorist attacks. And how nice is that? Not nice at all. So why are we accepting that these things happen? The worst part I would say about it is that when there's a terrorist attack, let's say there was the Pulse nightclub, a gay nightclub that had a shooting where people were killed. We take 2 steps back in today's society. The worst part was that we took 1 step forward when the gay community came together. Now what about when there was a shooting like at Sandy Hook? Again, we take 2 steps back. But then elementary schools came together. Only 1 step forward. The problem with this is we're going back as a society as a whole, all together. There's no going forward. So what can we do to change that? I've made a kind of simpler estimate, but you're going to have to stick with me because it's a bit weird, I would say. The first part is pretty simple. It's having a better attitude. The second part comes into terms with abolishing stereotypes. The third part is giving back to your community. The fourth part is old people. I know it doesn't make sense. And the fifth part is appreciating the little things. So having a good attitude.
Basically what this means is that I can as opposed to I can't. So some people, let's say you're sitting at a table group for a while. You get to know the people at your table group and you get excited. You get to know them, they're fun. And then one day your teacher hits you with the, we're gonna move seats. Now how many of you have ever not wanted to move seats? I know I have, and it's kind of terrible. Yeah, exactly, no one wants to move seats. So your teacher tells you to move seats and you get to a new table group. And there's the person who goes, I don't want to be here. My old table group was the best. These people look terrible. Why am I here? How many of us want to be around that person? Oh my God, they seem great. Wow, I want to sit with them. Yeah, no, I don't. Good for you. But the point is that it's important to not be that person because a positive attitude is contagious. When you see someone smiling, you kind of want to smile back. And it's maybe not just smiling, it's the little things. If someone picks up your pencil, you say thanks. That's contagious. Another important thing is appreciating the little things. It'd be like if someone got a pink Lamborghini for their birthday and they're like, I wanted a purple one. Who gives pink Lamborghinis, right? So there's 3 things you can do in this situation. The first one is you can learn to like it. So you can be like, you know what, I may have wanted pink, but purple's good too. Colors are great, I can learn to like it. The other thing you can do is you can whine and you can complain and you can annoy everyone around you. You can be the person that's like, I didn't get what I wanted and it's terrible and I'm gonna cry because it's my birthday and I didn't get exactly what I wanted. And no one likes that person. The other thing you can do is learn to change it. So if you don't like something, there's no need to just sit there and take it. You can do something about it. Be like, hey, Mom and Dad, I know you got me this car, but could I get a different color? Could I do it differently? And that's good too. Another important thing is appreciating the little things. Again, if you drop a pencil and someone picks it up for you, be like, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. And it goes a long way, because when you appreciate things, you'll learn that not everything is bad. You may walk into school and be like, oh, school's terrible, why do I have to be here? But maybe you walk in and you appreciate that someone goes, good morning, and you say good morning back. And you learn to like things. It's not easy, the world's a tough place, not gonna lie. But it's important to do that, because in today's society, we always seem to gloss over the bad. When we don't want to look at bad things, we gloss over them. And I don't want to do that. What I want to do is change that there isn't any bad. I want to make it so that the world is a better place. And this plays into old people. Now this sounds kind of confusing because you're like, what are old people doing in a speech about positivity? But old people are actually really fascinating if you've ever talked to them. When you hear an old person talk, there's so much life in them because they've lived for longer than you have. And that's because they're old. But it's important to listen to them because history repeats itself. It really does. So maybe it's a small thing, like one of my friends was being kind of rude. Like, what do? Talk to an old person, because they've had trouble with friends before. They know what to do. So it's really important to appreciate your elders. Another important thing is abolishing stereotypes. Who in here has ever been stereotyped? Because I know I have, totally, for sure. I'm not gonna lie, stereotypes are a thing. It's important to recognize that. Because when you stereotype someone, that's the first thing that pops into your head. Let's say you meet someone and you go, I mean, they're short, they probably don't play basketball. Or they're tall, they play basketball, exactly. So it's important to really get to know someone. I met one of my good friends, Charlotte, on the first day of freshman year in high school, and I was terrified. She had short hair at the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she must be terrifying and terrible. And I didn't take the time to get to know her at first. And when I realized that she wasn't that scary or intimidating, I had realized I made such a big mistake. Because she was such an amazing person, and she still is. She's a great friend of mine. So it's important to get to know someone, because you may just stereotype them. So one thing you can do about this is tell your mind to think differently. A stereotype is the first thing that pops into your head, and it's a bad idea about a group of people that you haven't gotten to know. It's a bias. So when that bias pops into your head, think about it. Think, why do I think this? Why is this here? And then think something different. Think something about, hey, maybe I can do something to change that, as opposed to just thinking about it and being, oh, that's probably true. So it's important to try and abolish stereotypes. Now I want to try and start something. This is going to sound kind of weird, but can everyone just high five the person next to them? Like, just give them a high five. I see you. Come on, give them a high five. I see you. All right. Okay. So the crazy thing about what you just did, you actually increased the amount of dopamine in your brain. This is science right here. You made yourself happier. High fives are weird. They're a really simple action that you can do to bring up someone's morale. It's kind of a physical way to show that you care. So by giving someone a high five, it's kind of a good way of saying, hey, have a good day, or hey, I'm going for you. If you're on a sports team, give people high fives. Not on the sports team, high fives aren't exclusive. So it's really important to just that's one simple way to show appreciation. Now, after I failed my proficiency speech, I was a train wreck. I was like shaking, and I went to sit down at my table group, and the 5 of them turned to me and they said, hey, you tried. You didn't pass, but you tried. And that was something that really stood out to me, because I found it so important that I had a group of people who I could count on to know that when I didn't do good, they would still be there to have my back. And I feel like everyone deserves that. It's a really important part of today's society that we don't always realize. I think it's important for everyone to just take a moment to reflect on things that they can do and things that they haven't done, because this is something that we don't do in our daily lives. It may sound kind of strange, and I'm not like saying you guys should meditate or anything. I'm just saying that it's important that you should really reflect on what you have and haven't done. And I know this sounds kind of strange, but if you really just try it, it's kind of strange to see what you can do differently, because sometimes we gloss over daily life, and it's important to stop and think. So, to change the world, it's simple. You gotta talk to old people, which I'm not saying talk to strangers. You have to appreciate the little things, no matter how small. You have to learn to embrace change. I mean, if something's not right, change it. You have to abolish stereotypes, which is so important in today's society, especially with social media. And most importantly, you have to give back to your community. Now what this means is the people who raised you, they didn't do it for kicks or because they thought it was fun. They did it because they loved you. And that's not easy. Raising you guys was not easy. Trust me, I was a pain, I know that. But it's important to give back to the people who raised you, because they took that time, and it's important to give that time back, because it comes right back around. So, if you want to change the world, go out and do it. It's really not that hard, but it's kind of hard. Which is why we need to make a conscious effort as a society to really help improve our world. Thank you.